Good afternoon. I'll call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Stormwater Board, Wednesday, August 9th at 4 o'clock. We have roll call, please.
David Payne.
Here.
Forrest Sutton.
Here.
Tim McLaughlin.
Here. Is there a motion for approval of our minutes from our last meeting of July 12th?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion about those minutes?
No.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. The old business, Chris?
No.
All right. Move on to new business. So we've got our public-private partnership application.
Yeah, let me introduce it for the record, Chris Jones, Director of Stormwater Management. We did receive a public-private partnership application for the subdivision of South Lake. South Lake is about it's south of Worstville Road and it's west of I-65. They're looking at do some pinch pond improvements to add fountain aeration systems for the ponds, and also to do some shoreline stabilization to include native plantings and no areas around the banks to prevent erosion. So I think we do have members of the HOA here. If you'd like to come up and introduce their project.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm John Gant. I'm the secretary for the South Lake Homeowners Association, representing our community. We also have Wendy Murphy and Ron Stewart present, who are also board members with me. We've been working on a plan to improve our stormwater retention ponds for about 2 years now. Trying to figure out what type of plan we wanted to take, because we frequently have inspection issues with our retention ponds, with riprap and things getting thrown into the ponds by kids and by adults alike. And since the commercial development of the area between our community and Sheep Road, right at the Worstville Road, Sheep Road intersection, we've had a significant issue with the volume of water in our largest pond, pond number 2, when we have high rain events, which has significantly contributed to the amount of erosion that we've seen on pond number 2. So while we've been in the process of trying to investigate our options, we've seen that significant increase, and now understand we really need to get something done about this. So we started exploring options such as riprapping the entire pond, super expensive, and we're going to end up with the same problem we have now with kids and adults alike throwing those riprap stones into the pond. That's not a permanent solution. So we started exploring a more natural solution using living soil tube and living log to help provide an immediate stabilization of our shoreline, as well as providing natural plantings that would grow in over the first year or two after planting to help provide more of that permanent bank stabilization. We do have a number of areas where we have some muskrats that we've gotten under control, where we need to have to do some regrading of the pond bank and things like that, which we've included and got quotes for in our proposal to help ensure that that area is returned to its normal properties. We do have one pond, which is pond number 1, our smallest one. It does currently have a fountain on it. That pond also has the least amount of rise and volume change during rainwater events due to being the smallest one. It also dumps into the largest, so it's a contributor there. That pond does have a fountain, and that is the pond where we do not have many issues with algae growth, with underwater vegetation, and things like that. We do have a pond maintenance program with ASI for treating our ponds. It does seem like we are having to call them out much more frequently now that we have that commercial property that's somewhat dumping into our pond number 2, our large pond, to maintain the water quality. And so in addition to the shoreline erosion control, we would like to add fountains and aerators to our ponds to help provide water movement, to reduce algae growth, and to hopefully limit the amount of chemicals that we have to put into the ponds to control the growth of the underwater plantings and the algae. Any questions?
So what's the total cost of the program?
The total capital cost is estimated to be right under $300,000.
Okay,
And we have proposed a potential split for that. We also have included in our proposal, there is an estimate for the expenses over the first 5 years. So not only is the capital investment going to be required, we're going to have to maintain. And so we've included about 80 grand in continuing costs for that first 5-year period for the electrical, for the pond, fountain storage, and things like that that come along with that capital improvement. But our request to the city is only for assistance with the capital investment. And what we've requested assistance with is the 70-30 cost split. So around $200,000 from the city.
okay, so your capital investment, let's see, is 283 or 298, is that what?
298, 311.
211, okay. And then what's your plan after the 5-year period?
So the reason we included it in the 5 years, one, so that we have something to go to our community to talk to them about, hey, we're going to invest this amount of money and we're getting help from the city in investment. We're also going to be taking on these expenses as an HOA. And so those fees are going to be eventually incorporated into our budget. And so this provides that documentation for our homeowners to understand where that increase in fees is going to be coming from, just due to the additional capital that we have to support for the years 6 and 8.
Okay, so do I understand they don't know about this yet?
They do not know all the details yet. We have a number of homeowners that have been requested to look at some of our plans that live on the ponds that would be primarily impacted. And we've had a very favorable response from them, especially with the secondary attribute that it will help limit the geese population that we have and some of the secondary effects. But we've not had any pushback from our homeowners that have been consulted. But our intention is to then take this to the homeowners because this is going to be a substantial investment from us as well, and make sure that they understand that this is for the good of the community and also helps to prevent an even larger cost if we ignore the problem and allow it to continue to erode the way that it has been.
How many homeowners do you have? Is it 430 homes?
430 homes.
Okay. All right, so you're requesting from us 70% of the 298. Okay.
Which is approximately 280,818.
You guys have any questions?
Just kind of taking it all in right now.
Yeah. Chris, is there anything you want to fill in or add?
Sure, I can jump in there.
Okay. Yeah, I will say, and I'll tell the board at HOA, this is the most thorough application that we've had yet. It does incorporate all, they actually answered every question in the application, which is wonderful. Didn't ask for any help from us, which is new as well. I provide the board with the scoring sheet we did for other applications. Scored very high, got it 9 out of 10. Staff also had a recommendation that has also been presented to the board. We looked at it a little bit closer, for some of the, I don't want to use the word unnecessary, but I'm going to say that some of the unnecessary items, such as like the LED lights. Those are aesthetically appealing, but they don't really do anything for water quality. So we went through it and kind of crossed out some of the items that we deemed to be eligible. But it is our recommendation that this project meets the spirit of the public-private partnership and encourage support of the efforts. We would determine that the following items are eligible and recommended by staff. Pond 1, living log, 4,200 feet at 84,000. Pond 2, living log, 800 feet, 16,000. Pond 3, living log, 1,500 feet, 30,000. Pond 4, living log, 1,700 feet, 34,000. Pond 4 also with living soil tubes, 1,700 feet for 17,000. 4 otter vines, 3 horsepower fountains, and 200-foot power cables, $34,752. Electrical estimate for each pond, which to include the galvanized pedestal, 2,143. Pond 1, pond 2, 5,382.5. Pond 3, 5,745. Pond 4, 3,900, for a total electrical of 17,170.5. That total amount is $232,922.50. So staff recommends the following conditions are accepted as part of the agreement. The HOA shall contribute an amount to be determined by the Stormwater Management Board. The 4-bay area riprap should be replaced by interlocking turf reinforcement mat, such as articulated block, flex mat, or other non-mobile reinforcement. The O&M manual must be modified to include the fountain and aeration system, to include a statement from the manufacturer of turnover volume in the 24-hour period, vegetated logs, and shoreline plantings. Staff also recommends signage be installed along the shoreline with the message that complements the purpose of the improvements. Provide the educational materials that are included in the newsletter as part of the yearly post-construction inspection performed by the Department of Stormwater Management. Acceptance of the operation maintenance manual by the Board of Works and Public Safety and the Stormwater Board that includes the accepted conditions. 4, the HOA must record at the county recorder's office the updated O&M manual prior to any reimbursement or settlement of the partnership funds.
Okay. I'm assuming all of that is agreeable to the HOA?
I did not hear anything that I would disagree with.
Okay,
I spoke fast.
yeah, that's a lot of detail. Okay, so it 232,922 is what you came up with as far as what's the eligible.
That's what staff determined to be.
So typically we kind of start at a 50-50 split and kind of go from there. So what is the HOA put forth as far as this project?
So we have for this year already budgeted, Mr. Treasurer, around 60,000, 65,000 for pond improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have reserve funds of around 140,000. So we do have the potential to offer more. But obviously that reserve fund is also covering things beyond the capital investment for the ponds. It's covering our pool and other capital items that we have responsibility for.
Hmm.
May I add a comment? I'm with the board as well. It is my belief that in the city of Greenwood, we probably have the most lakes in the city of Greenwood in a neighborhood. We really would like to be the showcase of what is possible for a neighborhood to do with their ponds.
Mm-hmm.
As the neighborhoods around us age and get older, they are also going to continue to have problems with their ponds as development continues. We would like to be the shining example of what other neighborhoods can do. Obviously, since we have the most shoreline and the most ponds, it's a big layout of capital for our homeowners to front up. So another of the reasons we're asking for a little bit more than the 50-50 is we would be willing to be that poster child for the Stormwater Department and the city of Greenwood. Should other neighborhoods come to them with problems, we can be the example of come and see how beautiful our ponds look now, especially compared to how horrible they have looked for the past few years since that commercial property opened. It's just abysmal, bordering on unsanitary, in my opinion. That's my
cents.
All right, thank you, thank you.
I recall
Okay.
we did an agreement with Crystal Lakes and there were some major repairs there. Do you remember how much the board paid on that one?
Yeah, I think it was $10,000.
Okay.
I think it was a $20,000 project. I think it was about half.
That was that
I think we have gone more than the 50% on some
Yeah.
projects where we
Well,
try
on
to
this
do
one,
it.
the score is 9 out of 10, and
Yeah.
we got offered something that typically they don't do, which is the green infrastructure,
Mhm.
which is one of the main goals of your public-private partnership, to try to eliminate the riprap. To go with the green infrastructure.
So is there any issues that we run into is there any dollar amount that puts us into, or puts us or them into a situation we have to put bids out or
Well,
something?
in all of the contracts, we require that they follow the public works law. So if they're required to go get bids, for instance, and those things, they agree to do that. It's not a public project.
Okay.
But we do put that into the agreement. And it appears that they did go out, they called it quotes, but they got bids from different vendors. And they are willing to show us those to see if we want to make sure they're getting the best dollar for the scope of work that needs to be done.
Our general HOA philosophy is that anything that's over $1,000, we get 3 quotes for that work. And so we try to follow the same thing here before we came to present to, and work with vendors that we also believe to be more trustworthy than some of the others that we talk to.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Can I ask a question? You mentioned pond one, you already have a fountain?
We have, correct, on pond 1, which is the smallest on the lower left-hand side, we have 1 fountain there. So the 4 that we requested was 1 each for pond 3 and 4,
Okay.
and then
2
2 for the large pond because of the size.
Correct.
And they would be at opposite ends to help with
I
the circulation.
remember that.
In your budget, there's plenty of money available.
Yes, we do have funds available to support this project.
So if my numbers are right, I'm not an accountant, but anyway, so the 232,922 of what staff's saying is eligible for our program. It's about the 70% of that is $163,045. So I think. So, you guys, have anything you want to add?
Well, I noticed they mentioned doing it over 1 or 2 years. I wondered what Chris thought of that plan. Plan on doing it all in 1 year this year, or what could make a 2-year project happen?
We could make it a 2-year project. I think if their contractors are ready to get it done, we have the budget this year, I say I would recommend that we finish it this year. Carry things over on the books or us or.
When are you planning to bring this up for your HOA?
If it's approved today, it will go out in an email blast to all homeowners tonight. And we plan to also have a follow-up meeting, a special meeting, if homeowners have questions. But we'll notify homeowners of the intent and of any such approval this evening.
Anything else, Tim? You got anything?
I do not.
All right, so guess we need a motion to approve the public-private partnership in the amount of $163,045.
That's the motion you want to make.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do the full 2 vote.
I'll make that. Can I ask a question before I vote?
Sure.
For a second that. Is that, since this is a lower dollar amount, does that create major problems, or will that slow you guys down?
No, I think what we would probably go back and look at is like with the fountains and the light kits, we would defer buying light kits this year And we would hold that off to a capital investment next year or a year following. So we would make some adjustments to the overall plan based on the reduction, but I don't see any potential major gap that we'd have to meet. Mr. Treasurer, do you have any other?
He's busy scribbling over here.
Crunching some numbers.
Crunching numbers.
Thank you. With that being said, I second the motion.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Haven't seen us in a year and a half, see how we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Wait.
Next item we have agenda. Drainage assessment and study for Indiana American Office Park. This area is just off of Airport Parkway, south of County Line Road. So, as you can see on the screenshot, you see Mary Branch. That's the stream or waterway that starts actually kind of in the airport. We're getting runoff from Ale Emporium and that area that goes through the airport, goes into Mary Branch. Indiana American Office Park is the commercial building that you see on the left side of the screen, the pod, and then a couple of the other buildings. What we're wanting to do is do a drainage study in that area to determine what improvements we can do to the waterway. We want to ensure that we get water away from the airport. We also are looking at ways to mitigate the wet detention pond. As you know, detention ponds attract nuisance, waterfowl nuisance, and we don't want a lot of waterfowl around the airport. So we reached out to GRW Engineering Services. They gave us a proposal to do a study for Wheatcraft Way extension and the drainage assessment of this area. So they provided a number to us of $38,500. So I would recommend that we enter into an agreement with GRW Engineering for engineering services for Wheatcraft Way Road expansion and drainage assessment. Terms and conditions be outlined by the legal department, authorize the stormwater superintendent to sign the board's behalf, in an amount not to exceed $38,500.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion. Second.
All right, so before we go, I have a couple of questions. I
Yes.
just tried out there this morning to kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So is there the pond and a dry detention area?
Yeah, currently they're just south of,
Kind of that little
that-
circle area?
yeah, the circle area that is currently a dry detention basin.
Okay,
It is in the process of being developed, that area, and they're moving that dry detention area further south.
okay.
So we're looking at that wet detention pond as well as Mary Branch and what improvements can be done to that section.
So this study will tell us if and where we can move the pond itself. Okay. All right, a motion and a second. Any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's approved. All right.
All right, here's the next slide. Okay, so you're familiar with the Nature Center and the space between the BMV and the Nature Center it's a complete drainage and utility easement. So this is part of the parcel that the city received when we purchased the old VFW. It's all dry detention. what we're proposing, to help design services is to put a parking lot there. That way for everything that goes on in either at the nature center, the amphitheater, the courts, so on and so forth, we can actually utilize this useless piece of ground. We just keep mowing. So we reached out to First Group Engineering for design services, and they actually provided us with an idea of what that could look like. So, the idea would be not to just pave over the detention area. We still maintain the detention area, but we complement it by putting underground storage and also use pavers in this area. So that's the preliminary drawing. We're looking at for construction to partner with other entities of the city, whether it be the Parks Department, the TIF Department, or the general fund. But we thought it'd be a good opportunity to get this under design and get plans ready to go. So as I said, First Group Engineering provided us with a sketch of what it would look like, and then they gave us a proposal for design services, the amount of $60,400. So I would recommend motion that we enter into a professional service agreement with First Group Engineering for design services for this parking lot, parking lot south of the nature center. Terms and conditions be outlined by the legal department, authorize the stormwater superintendent to sign for the
Your motion?
I'll make that. I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's approved. All right, anything else? No. Okay. Anything from the audience? Hearing none, we'll move on. Council, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
Thank you. City engineer. Controller, don't see anybody. Billing. All right, Chris.
All right. Actually, I do have a couple of operation maintenance vehicles. First one we have is for the Madison. We've reviewed the operation and maintenance manual, found it to be acceptable. It's been accepted by the Board of Public Works and Safety. Recommend the Stormwater Board accept the manual and authorize the mayor to sign the board behalf.
So move.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Next item is the operation and maintenance manual for Green Brook Park Block C. It has been accepted by the Board of Public Works and Safety. We found it to be acceptable for the Stormwater Department, and we recommend the Stormwater Department accept the manual and authorize the mayor to sign the board's behalf.
Motion.
Make it. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I have a question about Madison. Will each one of those buildings have its own operation manual, or is it for the whole?
It's for the whole complex.
Whole site, okay.
So the underground detention and the office.
All right, thing for the mayor's office.
Well, I got the field report. I
Oh,
ran
okay.
through it real quick.
Good.
30.41 tons of debris, street sweeping, at $1,350.60. Jetting, we did just miscellaneous jetting throughout the city this past month. We had 3.86 inches of precipitation, 75.5 is average temperature, 154 was initiated, 189 completed, 24 requests initiated, 26 completed, 70 VAP inspections, 1,680 locates, 2 stormwater management permits issued, 5 inspections, 24 ESC permits issued, 6 inspections, 93 hotspots cleared, 103 right-of-way inspections, and our education that we did last month was employee training. That's all I have.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, mayor's office. Commissioners, you have anything?
No, sir.
Nope.
All right. A motion for approval of our claim documents.
So moved.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, we will be adjourned at 4:30. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.